Hi, welcome to the Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Thanks for joining the conversation. Hi, everyone. The firecracker dust is barely settling here post-Lunar New Year for us. I often call it Chinese New Year or CNY since I was young, and it has been a very, very busy time here at the Wallam Temple. So I thank you for your patience with consistent podcasts. And as you know, who are my loyal listeners, I appreciate you. I am trying to be better about intentional messaging and podcasts and making sure that when I do get a chance to sit down with a guest, it is not rushed and that I am not just scheduling all of these interviews just to make sure that I get something out every Tuesday. So my goal is to bring you the quality conversations over the consistent quantity that I have maintained since 2017. So I feel like being that I have kept that consistency for such a long time, I'm reframing and ensuring that you still get consistent podcasts, but perhaps less than a weekly basis, more of a consistent basis of having these conversations that have been very important to me and a little bit more intentional. I've been connecting a lot lately with Representative Dr. Anna Eskamani, who, of course, was the champion for our original AAPI history bill, in which the second year after our bill didn't pass, I had to get a new representative here at the state legislature because I needed a Republican in the House that would be able to actually get the movement going. But I've been talking to Anna, and it has been, nothing less of a shit show out there. Let's be honest. It's been really, really insane. And as most of you know, I don't really take in a lot of news. I try to steer clear of all the headlines and the intentional headlines to make us feel overwhelmed, feel afraid, and also feel stressed out and just have a high sense of anxiety. And I think that there's a difference between having your head in the sand like an ostrich and not knowing or being in denial. And I think there is still value in having a general idea of, hey, there are some bad things happening, and what does that mean for me? And how can I take in that information without having overload? And finding that balance, quite honestly, since 2016 has been a very, very long work in progress. But thank you to my amazing therapist, and thank you to my lifestyle of Wallam Kung Fu and Tai Chi that's allowed me to have outlets, that's allowed me to be able to refocus and do the things that, have buzzwords around them or just seem cliche to say now, like practicing gratitude or doing actionable items. But there is so much truth to that when you are constantly getting bombarded with the reality of the situation we're in. And I don't want to minimize how serious of a situation we are in terms of America and its democracy. But at the same time, I wanted to focus a little bit today on the things that I've been doing and what has helped me, and perhaps, and I hope maybe some of it will help you. But really, I'd also like to hear from all of you. What are you doing to basically put one foot in front of the other to wake up and say, wow, today can be a good day? And if you have the secret to that, let me know. But I think that there is something to be said for trying to find your new normal, whatever that may be. And here at the Kung Fu School, it gets really busy around CNY, as you know. We have a multitude of shows. I was talking to my dear friend earlier today, and I kind of was like, not that we're so unique, but it feels pretty singular for us because everybody has shows, like a lot of the martial arts organizations out there. I know that they are very busy, but when I look at our schedule, which by the way, the one that's posted online and the one that people see, that's our public schedule. It has nothing to do with, it doesn't show the private schedule, which really will outline how insanely crazy things are. But, having upwards of 20 shows a day and having, 35, 40 shows within a 2 or 3 day span is pretty intensive. And I feel like that has been a huge blessing. Since the inauguration, I have only been focused on CNY, and that has been a huge blessing. So my first act of share is basically find something distracting that is both positive for yourself, for your community, but also those around you, and also where you find yourself so focused on those in this project or something that you are then able to really tune out the noise. And this does not mean I did not know or see the horrific, bits and memes from the inauguration and where we're at with having pretty much an oligarchy in this country, and my daily struggle on should I still even be using social media to put out this messaging, to kind of find an audience to share what I consider to be my life lessons that others have told me have been helpful. Like, I have this daily struggle with it, and it's been very, very conflictive, but at the same time, I'm not ready to make a definite decision on basically withdrawing from all social media as much as I would really like to. So I do want to be able to ensure my audience is able to find my podcasts and my blog posts and my Patreon posts, and because I put a lot of effort into them, and I think there is benefit in being able to reach more people. So at this point, I'm a little bit on the fence, as much as it is super, super painful to feel in a way that I am participating and perpetuating part of the problem. But in terms of actionable, I was talking to Rep. Anna about, is there anything good happening right now in the Florida legislature? What is going on out there? And between her advice as well as other grassroots activists have really just said, this is the part where you turn to local. This is the part where being grassroots and actually looking at your immediate community impact, the people that you are literally in contact with, those are the things that we can turn to feel like we are actually able to perpetuate change, able to change the trajectory, whereas if we're really only focusing on the congressional or the federal jargon and all the craziness that's happening under this really, really toxic administration, it's really overwhelming, and there's not a lot you can do. Yes, sign all the petitions. Yes, make your posts and let people know where you stand, but I think even more than that, I don't know that that's actually as helpful as taking the time you would take to do that, and instead looking up a local organization that you can say, instead of my 1 hour of doom scrolling a week or posting all the things and reposting on social media and continuously using platforms that are part of the problem, I think maybe take that hour and see what organizations out there need support. Some of us have monetary discretionary income that we can just donate to these places that are putting up the fight and doing the work. But I think even if you physically are able to, make a phone call or connect with that organization or a person and have really important conversations. This is Black History Month. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar, who beyond did his part in this in this moment, and that's definitely not for me to speak on. I wish I could conjure up the right guest to dissect that with, but I think this is the part where you have to figure out what that looks like for you and what conversations can be had. Because for me personally, as you know, in the last 3-4 years, I was really focused on education. I was really focused on, getting my Asian American Pacific Islander history bill passed. And once I did, I had immediate burnout and I needed to take a step back and step away. So this by no means is an indicator that I'm going to start a new bill or write something or do something really high impact that I'm going to tackle, all of Florida. But I think in my own way, the small actions that I've turned to is just being a little more intentional about reaching out to the people like Rep E and saying, hey, what is one action that I can do? Whether it's showing up to one event, whether it's being a speaker, whether it's, writing a blog post for something or an article, or whether it's literally just finding volunteers for something that's happening. Like if you can even just be the connector of things, like there's just one actionable item that you can find that's very, very, very bite-sized. It does not have to be, I'm writing a whole new bill to change the law here in your state and make this insane, ripple effect difference. But I will tell you that the little pebble in the pond that skips across and gets accumulated to that body of water, it does add up. And so it feels small, but the ripple effect is huge. And so I really will urge you to share with me what your pebbles in the water are. What are the actions that you think have the biggest ripple effect? And I would urge you to maybe take off the table for the week posting on social media things. And I'm just as guilty. Like if I see something where I go, hey, I want to make sure that I am putting it out there to let people know that I stand with this organization or I disagree with this or that. I think that's not negative. But at the same time, even those few seconds I took to do that, I think there's something more intentional that I can be doing. And maybe people won't know about it. And that's okay. Like it's not about being performative. It's more about how can I fulfill this void and this darkness that I'm feeling and this weight of what's happening around me in the world. And I think that if we are really taking the time to even just reflect on what that is and maybe not even get to the actionable item, but think about what those actions are, that is going to be a stronger and more effective use of our time. And I caution you to not take on more than you can handle, but I do think that for those of us that feel despair, which is so many of us, for those of you that have a cause that you are really passionate about or has seen a law recently passed that you are really upset about and absolutely adamant and against, then I urge you to find more information on that. How can this be stopped? How can it be overturned? Or who are the organizations that are doing the change? Because I'll tell you what, Roe v. Wade did not get overturned in one night. It did not get overturned in 1 year. It was decades of very strategic planning by these organizations that chipped away at that law. And I feel like we can do the same. So the sooner we start, the better. Like we need to reverse that. We need to get women's rights back into the hands of women. We need people to have autonomy over their own bodies. So whatever your cause is, there's an organization out there that's already doing the work. And so take your despair and see if you can channel that, because I think it's really the only way right now that we're going to find a way out. And honestly, I know you've heard Greg Rucka and I rant about social media for like 2 or 3 years already. But even posting on there means you're seeing other things, right? It means that you are in danger of the doom scroll. You are in danger of having a distraction that will take you away from your intention. So I feel like this podcast became a little bit of a lecture. It might come across a little bit preachy, but I felt like it was one of the times where I wanted to be able to share with you where I'm at in my mind and how how it is that I'm able to put one foot in front of the other, how it is that I'm able to get up in front of the classroom every day and teach my students with an open heart, with joy, with enthusiasm, with positivity and hope, even when I do feel the same despair and frustration and anger and disgust of what is happening around us. And I think it's okay to acknowledge that those feelings are there. I don't think it's helpful to try to push them away, but I do believe that my intentional actions, as small as they may be, are the things that have kept my sanity. And so for our gentle listeners, as my amazing friend, Coach Dan John would always say, I really hope that you are finding some peace of mind, and we need you, quite honestly. This may become a little bit of a lecture / preachy / recruitment, but at the same time, if you are in despair because of what's happening, I urge you to get out of it as soon as possible, because we need you. It's like we are in the recruiting phase of getting all of the allies, of getting all of the people that have a humane and empathetic and compassionate heart, and the ones that believe what's happening in this country and that our democracy is under fire. If you believe all of that, then we need you. Do not sit at home and sulk. Do not sit at home and just turn on the news and despair and be upset. And do not sit at home and doom scroll on social media and then just keep reposting things about how much you hate this or how ridiculous this is. We know it's ridiculous. And you are posting to people that already know, but also you're inviting negativity. So I think that I'm a little bit okay with stepping outside of my normal, I don't know if it's normal, but of trying to just listen and tell you what I'm doing, but say, hey, whatever works for you is great. I think this is a more important time where to quote Kendrick Lamar, this is the revolution, and you need to be a part of it. And sitting at home and being upset is one thing, but I'd love to see more action, and we need all of you. I think that we outnumber them, and I really believe that we can make the change that's needed. And so I hope everybody did have a good year of the snake. I hope everybody was as distracted as I was and was able to have a project. I hope everybody has actionable items that they can turn to, that they can feel good about. I think even just making a list of the things that you can do will enhance and bring you out of the depressed state that we are all in. I feel like positivity and change needs to happen, and the only way is if we do it together. And so this is a call to action. This is a plead for help. But just like in CNY, it's a time for renewal. It's a time for rebirth. It's a time for a new beginning. I think when the calendar year turns January 1, it's just this happy new year, like, oh, now it's 2025. For me, this is the year of the snake. And we kind of have a snake in office right now. And I think that we can fight fire with fire, snake with snake. And I think this year we can do everything we can to have a new beginning and have it be the one that we want. We can write our own history. So I hope everybody is finding some peace. I hope that you are as happy as can be and healthy, because we're going to need you to be a part of the fight of all of the things that are coming down the pipeline. So be prepared, be vigilant, and be safe. I wish everybody the best for the year of the snake. And I think that there is going to be a lot of things that we need to keep our ear to the ground on in the next 4 years, but day by day, right? So I think over the next several weeks, we just take it day by day. And if you do have some really great resources, please share them. I am always looking for more and better things to take action of. And I will leave you with this. I just Googled, what are some positive things that has happened in the past 3 weeks? And of course, I'm frustrated to Google after, Google and Apple Maps have failed us and decided to go ahead and change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America on maps when you're in the US. And this is them bending the knee, right? But we do what we can. So I will now try to say I've, did a search instead of advertising Google, but I did a search for what in the past few weeks have been some positive things. And here's a small list, and I don't know if this is going to make you feel any better, but here's a list that came up. A new drug showing promising results in preventing breast cancer is being offered to thousands of women in England. An a Yorkshire nature reserve has improved accessibility for wheelchair users by utilizing recycled materials. And a world's loneliest sheep was rescued after years of being stuck on a rock. I don't know if this is true at all, but it's something that came up from Country Living magazine, and I thought that is absolutely hilarious, but oh my goodness, this poor lonely sheep. Prisoners in England are learning to train assistance dogs for the community. And a woman received an award for her work in saving injured seals. And reports indicate a continued decline in extreme poverty worldwide. I hope that's the case. Breakthroughs in lab-grown coral survival, potentially helping to combat coral bleaching, and increased minimum wage for garment factory workers in Cambodia. So I don't know if all of these are true, but this is what came up in my search. And as I click on the link, a lot of it is news. And I know there's that Good News Network that tries to share things too. But I just want you to know that for every bad thing, there is something happening that is positive. I see it every day at the Wallam Temple. I see it every day where kids show up and do Kung Fu and preserve culture and engage with others and show kindness and fellowship and community with one another, whereas they could be home on social media or, getting into all sorts of trouble. But I see it every day. I do see the positive. And so I hope that you are all able to see it as well and that you are surrounded by it. Have a wonderful week. I am appreciative of your patience with me. I have a few guests still lined up. It's been really hard to get things on the schedule. And hopefully you're not getting tired of just my voice or the Miask episodes, but we certainly have really enjoyed recording those for you. So we have more coming in the near future. But for now, I hope that you have a fantastic week and that you are finding some peace of mind during this freaking crazy time. So hang in there. Take care. Once again, to my patrons, especially to you all, thank you so much for having trust and faith in me and allowing me to continue to share and work creatively and to be able to put out this podcast as well as continue my blog posts and continue to work towards my long-term goals in balancing the world of teaching Kung Fu, being a creative, and all the things. So I appreciate you all so much. If you want to join that wonderful group of humans and support me, you can do a one-time donation. You could do a monthly donation. You could send me all sorts of gifts. No, but there's just a lot of ways to participate. Go to patreon.com/SifuMimiChan. I would appreciate it so much. But you guys have been great. And until next time, have a good week. That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening to the Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Please subscribe and rate my podcast on your platform of choice and leave a review. You can become a patron of the show at patreon.com/SifuMimiChan to help keep this podcast going. Follow me and interact on social media at Sifu Mimi Chan on Instagram or Facebook.